The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I call the member for Riverina.
Well, with all this pizzazz and excitement, Deputy Speaker, you would think that people out in voter land would be dancing in the streets, would be rejoicing. I wonder, Member for Wright, are they dancing in Railway Street in Bow Desert? They're certainly not dancing in Baylor Street in Wagga. And tax cuts, power price reductions, Labor talks, and the member for Lyons has just mentioned that this is our #1 priority. He said it very earnestly and very seriously. That was what was on his talking points. And they all come in here and we want them to earn more and keep more of what they earn. I mean, it's just a paraphrase of quite frankly, the Dirt Unit's talking points. But seriously, and they talk about this being cost of living being the #1 issue, for now. Because let me tell you, it wasn't the #1 issue last year. But you know what was? It was the voice. It was the referendum. And I haven't seen the Labor Party so excited since, as the member for Wright just reminded me, that they thought they were going to win the referendum. Remember that? They thought they were going to win the referendum. And how did that go for you? Well, and we want our Indigenous peoples to receive the best services, to receive the most help, to get the most support that they need, particularly in regional and remote Australia, remote in particular where the services are lacking, and that is a fault of all of us. But Labor was so committed. They spent $450 to $500 million on the voice, and it failed. And while they were talking about the voice, and while ministers were going over to London and elsewhere, decrying about what we were doing here and how terrible we were, and the Greens were out saying how racist we were, the anti-Australian Greens, cost of living was escalating for families right across this nation. And when the voice failed, all of a sudden Labor thought, gee, we better do something. Somebody actually belled the cat. Somebody said, we've got a cost of living crisis in this nation, and Labor's in charge. And Labor members thought, oh my goodness. Some of them ventured out of their electorate offices and they heard what was being said in Railway Street, Bow Desert. They heard what was being said even in Canberra, in the member for Bean's electorate. And right across the nation, there was this growing concern about the cost of living. And now it's like this big grizzly bear that has monstered the government, because it's rampant, it's out of control, and Labor is now backpedalling to see what they can do about it. And they offer $300 for power savings. Well, $275 they promised 97 times prior to the election. 97 times. Prime Minister said, my word is my bond. We're going to be more transparent. We're going to do the right thing by the Australian people. And then got focused on other things. We hear from those opposite about affordable childcare. I'd just like available childcare. And you talk to particularly women, mums across regional Australia, they would just like a centre to be able to drop their children off so that they can participate in the workforce. And then we hear about power price cuts. It's winter, it's cold. Winter in Australia is cold. And let me tell you, there are a lot of people wearing another layer of clothing, putting another rug, another doona on their bed of a night because they can't afford to turn the heater on, and that is a fact. More people are using the likes of the Salvos and St Vinnies than ever before, and that is such a shame. And we do have a cost of living crisis. I was down near the Murrumbidgee River in my hometown of Wagga Wagga just yesterday and saw the number of tents that have popped up alongside the river. That is people who can't afford a house. They can't find a house. They can't afford the rent. They can't find anywhere to rent. And this is a growing crisis. And Labor has only just cottoned on to the fact that it is out of control, that people are hurting, that people, particularly in regional Australia, not that those opposite would care, are doing it very, very tough. And those people in regional Australia, like the member for Wright's electorate and mine, Riverina, they were the ones who carried this nation during COVID. They were the ones who carried this nation, provided the food, provided the fibre, provided the mining exports, and kept the lights on. That's what regional Australia does, and it's time those opposite realised and addressed the cost of living crisis.